So here we are in Bristol, and I've just had a lovely chowder in the pub behind me, the old fish market. I'm heading up there now because there's another sort of market on. Let's go and have a look. So here at the top of the stairs we are now in the old city of Bristol. This is St Nicholas Street, which is a name you're going to hear again in this video. Here's the famous slug and lettuce. I know a few people have had a very messy night out in here. It's a cocktail bar and restaurant, and there are actually two of these. The other one's down on the harbour side. Now I love these cast iron curbs, and these are pretty unique to Bristol. They are to be found extensively throughout the old city. By 1880, carts had begun to have metal ridged wheels, and these were playing havoc with the curbs of the time. So it was decided to install these across Bristol. This project was so successful that they went throughout the entire city. Leeds and Southampton followed suit shortly afterwards, but Bristol have the most extensive examples of these still in situ. These were still being put down in the late 20s, but obviously the rise of the car marked their demise. Now, if you're going to open an Indian restaurant, why not do it in a building like this? This occupies the former Bristol Stock Exchange, which was built in 1903. There can't be many Indian restaurants that can make that claim to fame. Here we are entering Corn Street itself, in the heart of the old city, and now we are right in the middle of St Nicholas Market proper. Nicholas Market has been going since 1743, so it's been around for a little while. This amazing building here, there's loads of buildings like this here. This one was once the NatWest headquarters in the city. This is the commercial rooms, opened in 1811 as a coffee house, you gotta love that, for the commercial city centre. By 1852 it housed Bristol's first telegraph office. I wonder if they had Wi-Fi. Doubt it. This is one end of Bristol Harbour Hotel. It's comprised of two old bank buildings. This end is the old Midland Bank. Later on we'll see the Lloyds. So at last here we are, we've reached the famous Corn Exchange. But before we go in, take a look at the clock. Notice it's got 2-minute hands. Now I've got a railroad with 2-hour hands, but this has 2-minute hands. Up until 1880 there was no standard time in the UK. Every city had its own time, reckoned from the sun and rung out by church bells. Bristol is 2 degrees 36 minutes west of Greenwich, so it is actually 11 minutes later. This all came to a head for Bristolians in June 1841, when the first through train from Paddington arrived at Temple Meads. The railway obviously ran on Greenwich time, so you had to remember that the noon train to London actually left at 11:49 Bristol time. To help the poor confused Bristolians, the corporation arranged for this clock to have double hands so people would not miss the train. In September 1857 the problem went away when Bristol adopted good old GMT. The Exchange is a Grade 1 listed building and stuffed with history. It was built in 1743 by John Wood the Elder. Wood also built the Liverpool Exchange in 1754. This then burnt down in 1795, and also the London Exchange went up in smoke in 1838. This left Bristol Exchange as the only surviving 18th century exchange in England. Originally, this market area was an outdoor courtyard. This glass roof was added in 1872. This plasterwork surrounds the entire market and represents the 4 corners of the world, because obviously in those days that's where Bristol were trading. It's hard to imagine, but in this very market room in the 60s, bands such as the Rolling Stones, Cream and the Yardbirds have played. Now that is a door. Look at the lion knocker on that. Now, banks have always been rich. This beautiful building you see in front of us is the former Lloyds Bank offices. It is based on St Mark's Library in Venice. More about libraries later. Here is All Saints Church. This closed in 2015, but it does have a claim to fame. In 1464, a library was built here, and in a deed of 1464, it gave access to all for free who wished to study, making it the first public library in the country. Here we are. I love it in here. We're in the Glass Arcade, which is famed around Bristol and outside of Bristol for its food market, its street food market in fact. Oh look, cakes. I'm gonna have to stop off here. See you in a minute. So, you know me, I found a cake place, look. They do cake, and they do tiramisu cake. And tiramisu cake, ladies and gentlemen, looks like this. So I'll be back in a minute because I've got to eat this. Oh, that was nice cake. Well, we've come outside the glass market now, and that's Christchurch with St Ewan in front of us. Church has stood here since the 12th century. Interestingly, the barber's shop is built right by the side of the tower. This area here was heavily bombed in World War II, and as you could see, the typical post-war modern kind of architecture has been thrown up. It's difficult to tell sometimes if you're in Bristol or Plymouth. So we're going to finish up today in Castle Park, and this is St Peter's. It was bombed during World War II and is now preserved as a memorial. Excavations in 1975 suggest this was the site of Bristol's first church. The 12th century city wall runs under the west end of the present church. So I'm going to pass you back to me now so that I can sign off and finish the video. Thanks for watching. So I've come here to the bombed out church here in Bristol at the top of Castle Hill to finish today's video. I hope you enjoyed the wander around the markets. It was an impromptu video. But I just thought there's so much going on over there. It's a lovely little place to wander around on a Saturday afternoon. So there you go, I filmed it. But for today, that's the end of the video. I'm heading home now. It's cold, it's windy, and I've got a bus to catch. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.